Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I am Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Francel Evans.
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gonna post to it.
What up?
Fran, Mr. Postman. I want to take a second before we really dive into things. I want to check on you. I want to find out how if we're just seeing things on the internet, if the real world is the real world. Are people at your job feeling the pressure from the DOGE unit? They're telling the American people that federal workers need to get real jobs and stop being lazy and suckling at the teat of the government. And I want to know if that's trickling down to you. Are you feeling that on a day-to-day basis?
No, I would think I have a real job. I'm not sitting on my ass.
I agree with
I
you.
wouldn't say that, people that sit on their ass doesn't have real jobs, but I mean, like, what is what income or what I want to say profits are the post office is supposed to generate?
Well, it's a service. I think we should say that. Like, it's not
a service.
It's not designed to make money.
I don't understand. I mean,
It's
like,
not a Dave and Buster's.
yeah, like if the post office is supposed to run off of selling stamps and whatever, like it'd have been without a business. I mean, like stamps are like
Like 25 cents.
90 cents. I mean, I don't know, like what are we talking about here?
What are you guys supposed to be selling? And
yeah. So what about the people?
money?
I just went to a museum in DC. Most of the museums in DC are free. You can just fucking go in. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
It's almost like they're a service, or
I don't understand. People work there. You got to pay the people security and guides and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand what's happening here as far as like, oh, we're trying to cut, trying to save here and get rid of these jobs. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
I guess
We had this conversation. We talked about it on the phone. I'm like, libraries don't make money. I don't understand what's happening.
It's a public service. I guess in the case of a museum, I guess museums survive off of donors and things of that nature. But like you said, a public library is a service, and I think it's a necessary service, and it's way less necessary than the post office. And like we said, when we had these on the phone conversations, man, like I just want to take a second to first of all clap it up for you and your industry. You guys been doing this for 100 years. Like this is like a pastime. This is an American pastime.
Yeah.
This is a profession that is generations in, and it really makes my stomach turn to see people that don't know anything about what you do having these pedantic conversations because of something that this weirdo on television says with his weird hand gestures and his chainsaws. Like, well, we're just cutting waste and we don't, it's efficiency and we just shouldn't really trim the fat. And people are having these conversations as if you don't do shit.
Yeah, which is wild.
And it's just like it's disrespectful. And so I don't like that because I know how hard you work to provide for your family.
Yeah, man. It's weird to see people having these conversations, and it's not even just us. It's UPS and it's FedEx, all these different companies. I mean, it's like these people. It's like most of these people are on social media, and most of the people are retired, don't work, and it's just like y'all have a whole bunch of shit to say. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, you guys are living off of tax dollars and shit like that, and it's like Social Security and everything. It's like I just don't get it. How people can it's easy to sit around and just
judge
with somebody and judge and talk shit. And when you don't have nothing to lose, it's like I can say whatever I want. It's like you don't really have a horse in the race. I'm just whatever, fire everybody. I don't give a shit. It's like that's crazy. It's like these people, y'all voted for this person, and then his team, who he could just hire, which is crazy to me. How you could just get in office and just like, I'm just hiring my best.
I'm gonna give
friend.
this guy a job.
It's like, what? What background does he have?
And nobody can tell you what he does. They're like, so is he the administrator of the DOGE? Or like, he's like a special interest, a special higher government, a liaison. It's like, what does that mean? And does he just have the ability to just fire people from their job? That's crazy to me. Like, it's like, yeah, me and my team of 20-year-olds that are like, he's got a team of 20-year-old like 4chan dudes that are like, yo, this shit is mad cringe. Like they're just in there using Xbox party chat language to decide on people's social securities and their jobs and shit.
Yeah, it's just like I said, man, I I'm not a fan of Elon Musk whatsoever at all. And I do want to make that clear, but like, I mean, people are losing jobs. I mean, this is not a game. I mean, like, this is serious. People are losing careers and jobs, and it's like, oh well, what we're doing is we just targeting people who have 5 years of just for an example, we're talking to people who have 5 years or less of service or whatever. It's like, and
it's just getting weird, but it's a job.
And it's a job, and then it's like, oh well, we saving money, then we just going to give the money back to the people. It's like, okay, what's the catch? What's the catch? Everybody getting all excited for $5,000. Okay, what's the catch here? Like, people hear dollar signs and go act crazy like shit. I mean, I hated him at first, but I don't know. Man, he turned around. I was like, okay,
I would tell people to
what's happening?
Hold their breath on some on them sending 5 bands to everybody's house or what their pay taxes or whatever the situation is.
Come on, man, let's be real here.
Come on, when do people find money and just start giving money out to people for free?
Yeah, what's happening?
I mean, like, come on, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining, bro.
He's saving trillions, and all of a sudden he just now we can just give every household $5,000. What? All right.
You can just print money up like that. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, bro. It's an interesting time. I seen a video. Dude was like, they were like, yo, you work for ICE? He was like, no, I just throw this shit on and go to Home Depot and I like scaring people. Shit's funny. I'm like, what type of evil?
Is that like for content or is this?
Yeah, they caught him at the CPAC. They were like, so you work for ICE? Because he had the ICE, the little FBI type jackets.
Yeah.
His
like
just
a bulletproof vest or just like a jacket?
No, just the jacket, just the little fleece jacket.
Okay, gotcha.
So they were like, oh, you work for ICE? He was like, nah, I just throw this shit on and it's mad funny, bro. Watch them scatter. I was like, what type of evil world is this? So that's different. You are a different individual. Like, that's how I get my kicks, bro. I just like to throw the ICE shit on and go to Home Depot and just like, when they see you, it gets lit. They're like, what do you mean lit? You like seeing people terrified running? That's funny to you? It's different, bro. So it's just different wavelengths. Speaking of different wavelengths, bro, I told you I wanted to get into this.
Yeah.
I think we finally hit a wall in the social media IRL meeting type of situation with these real life pranks.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this whole situation with this dude, Deshae Frost?
Yeah, I've seen this when you brought this video. I've seen this like a week ago when it first came out.
Right.
And I just I don't know. I don't know.
So for people who don't know, there's this guy named Deshae Frost. He's part of this community of these streamers. First of all, shout out. Until he does real wrong, I can't do anything but shout him out because I respect the hustle. Shout out to Kai Cenat. He's taken this dude Reggie, who's from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he's piped him up. I don't know Reggie. We're not like fixtures in Baltimore. It's not like we're local legends. We're not like Gilly and Wallow. Like, oh, we're tapped in with everybody. But this dude, that Reggie, who's on this Kai Cenat stream, he's a young kid. He's been around for a long time making internet content. And now he's on the biggest streaming platform in the world, talking with a Baltimore accent. And he's kind of putting Baltimore on the map in a lot of ways. And so I got to shout that out. But anyway, there's toxicity in these streamer communities too. And this dude, Deshae Frost, who I don't really know his content. Every time I see clips of him, he's like, there's like girls. They do that kind of content, like girls in a house and they're like, talking. I don't know. He's in a Target doing a live stream. And I guess somebody dared him, or they called it a prank. Like, go prank this girl. And the prank was he went up to a girl. There's been some, chatter about her age, but I don't think she was 13. That's what some people were saying. I think she was young for sure, but he's young. He's like 24. So they're young, but she looked young. And he went up to her and the prank was like, he went up to her and went, damn, bitch, you look so good. I'll fuck the shit out of you right here. Yeah. Like right here in this Target.
Yeah.
And her response was, she was on the phone. So she goes, oh, I'm on the phone with my mom. And he went, damn, oh, you're on the phone with your mom? I'll still fuck the shit out of you right here, right now. And then he tried to cover it up by being like, no, but for real, like, can I get your number and you want to hang out? She was like, no, you don't. All right. And he walked off laughing like, bro, I can't believe y'all made me do that. Like, I pranked the hell out of her. And then he walks off and they're regrouping about the prank they just pulled off. And this girl's brother rolls up on him And his first response was, oh man, yeah, I'm on stream. And my issue with these people is like, in what world is that a proper response to anything? Like if you're like, oh, hey man, can you move your car? No, not right now, man. I'm on stream. Yeah. That's not, you don't get to just dismiss people that way. I don't give a fuck about you being on whatever the fuck this is. You're talking to the phone and all those names are, the shit is crazy. They really are plugged into the matrix in the real world here. So the dude was trying to be like, hey man, you know, the shit you just said, I heard you, that was my sister. He was like, no, I'm on stream right now. He was like, I don't care, man. That was my sister. He goes, oh. Then he started to realize it was a real situation. And the dude tried to I wouldn't say he tried to press him, but he was really like, I could press you. I could make this a bigger deal, but I just want to let you know that wasn't cool, man. My mom was on the phone like that.
Yeah.
And they were just dismissing. Oh, yeah, no, man, I hear you, man. I hear you. That's cool. It was just a prank. They just kept saying it was a prank. Anyway, the shit was live, so it's not like he could edit it out. The shit went to the world, and people were like, what the hell kind of prank is this? And then he got banned off Twitch for like a day, but I think he's back on there.
I think now at this point, now we getting old school for us. So it's like a prank is, I don't know.
A prank ends
Look,
in like
you drop
psych. Yeah, it's
type of thing.
It's not a real thing that you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you laugh about it, and it's like, oh, you both recognize the prankster and the pranks, whatever. That was a joke there. That was a prank there. And you kind of laugh or whatever, and you go about your business. Now it's like we talked about this about comedians, where it's like comedians can hide behind it's a joke.
I'm a comedian.
Yeah. And now when they do these
but you
pranks,
can say the craziest shit as a comedian too. Yeah.
It was a prank. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't. You just can't dismiss what happened here.
That was sexual assault.
That was sexual assault, and it's like you on stream and you do these jokes. It's like, nah, man. It's like and I hate to say this, I don't condone violence at all.
Nah, go for it.
But some of these situations, I would like. I always go. I wish that was somebody else. Yeah. Only certain people you can get. That dude was respectful,
nice.
You couldn't be more respectful than when he was like, hey man, that was cool. This can go way left, but I'm trying to tell you that was. Yeah. I don't tolerate that. That was disrespectful.
Yeah, and not only was it baby sister, but then my mom's on the phone. So now it's baby sister. That's already instincts. But then my mom is calling like, who is that? Go be a big brother. Yeah. So that's once moms give the green light, anything's liable to happen.
Yeah, man. It's like
if it was the wrong person or the right person.
They on these streams, man, and because this is new. This is just new TV for the new. Yes, this is just TV.
They get the ratings are insane, bro.
Yeah, and they just like you can communicate back and forth with people. I'm surprised TV hasn't went in here yet, because I think this is the future of actual TV. Mm-hmm. Whereas like people can, this shit popping up, you can talk to the people. I'm sure that's coming down the works at some point. But like you sitting here doing this shit, you talking to people, and then they can go because the thing about it is, if we were to do a prank and you go like a dare, I think it's easy to do a dare if somebody else dares you to do it, then you going, no, I'm gonna do this because it's funny, right? Because you can trick your mind and go like, well, somebody told me to do it. I didn't
even want to do it.
Exactly. You can trick your mind to do some crazy shit and kind of like maybe thank yourself to like, oh, that's how I got away with it.
Yeah,
right.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, it's like, but like, man, you can't. Man, I just wish it was somebody else, man. You can't be going around in Target in a public area and then just saying outrageous shit like that, man, and then being like, hey, man, that was fucked up. He was like, oh, well, I understand. I get it. But like he was trying to dismiss them. And then it was a girl there who was really pissing me off. She was like,
she could have got
why
that.
He said, sorry. Just let it go. It's like, I'm not talking to you, number one. So get out of my face. Because if that was the time for him to crash out, that would have been a perfect. For me, I'm like, no. See,
she was pushed. She was inciting it because it's like I can't put
who are you?
I can't put my hands on you. I'm talking to him, and now you're being like, well, you keep keeping it going. Yeah. Either do something. She said something like, either do something or accept the apology. It's like, what do you mean do something?
That's crazy.
So he should have been like, I'm never talking to this person again.
Yeah.
But yeah, even the guy was like, I feel like you're trying to press me right now, and it's like, bro, no, he's trying to hold you accountable for. You can call this a prank, but you said the craziest shit in the world and then just walked off. So that girl had to sit with that like, this guy just came up to me, said the craziest shit. Where's the prank? Oh, psych out. I didn't really say it. Like, how do you make it a prank to her? Because she really had to feel that like, oh my God, what did you say? And her mom's like, who is that? Are you okay? All of that shit was real. But he gets, you think you just get to do some shit like that and be like, nah, man, it was just a joke. I was just pranking you. Where's the prank? If I go up to somebody in the store and I'm like, yo, I got a gun, I'm going to shoot you in the face. And they really go through all the emotions of that. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't really got a gun. I just was joking around. It's like, what the fuck? And then the police show up and I'm mad.
Yeah.
Y'all called the police?
Prank, man. It's not a prank. This is not, what was the show back in the day on MTV?
Punk?
It was Pranked. It's
yeah,
not
Punk.
Punk.
Yeah, Punk. Yeah,
Punk. Yeah. It's like, this is not Punk.
Yeah,
like
no.
this is because
there's a level of ridiculous. There's a ridiculousness to it. You almost got to be like, is this real?
yeah, but behind the scenes they go back and go, hey, can we get your permission to put this on? Now I know it was a joke. It's like there's a whole bunch of shit. You just can't go up and say shit like that and just walk off.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, like that could have went way. Man, people are crazy.
He could have gotten murdered in that.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to,
People are crazy out here.
Come on, bro.
A little sister? Are you serious? Come on, man. I'm really like you said, shout out to Castanet, all them dudes. I'm just not a fan. I guess because we
too old.
We just old school.
But they going up to real people.
I'm just not a fan.
You can't, it's
I don't know how this is. I
take back what I said. It's not us. It's not us. It's them. They don't realize there's social cues and levels of respect that just are expected in the world. And when I see these dudes going around in the Home Depot and they throwing bags of sand in the air and it hits you and you got to then they turn around, they looking up at the sky too. It's like, you really just threw a bag of sand on that man.
Yeah.
You ruined his clothes. He's wet. They were out here spraying people with water. But even that, this right here was like, you just went up to a girl and just said the craziest shit in the world.
Yeah.
In front of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And then when the guy tried to say something, he's like, all right, bro, you doing a lot. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So he's supposed to just be like, you pranked my man. You pranked the shit out of my sister.
Yeah.
She was crying and shaking and everything. You pranked her hard.
And and then the word content is, I think it's being so misused these days. It's like, well, it's content. It's like, bro, can we get creative? Like, this is not, I don't see this considered as content. This is just like, somebody's telling you to do stupid shit and you doing it and then just upload. It's like, that's not content, bro. I just don't believe content is being creative and putting a lot. This is effortless. I'm not
tapped into all of the kids and everything like that. But when I'm seeing clips of he's the only one I really know. This dude Castanet is rented out a warehouse or whatever. He's dressing up like Batman.
But that's content, though.
He's doing something unique and cool. And he might be cussing. So it's little kids watching him. So he might be cussing, but he's not promoting himself as a kid's channel. So he's gonna be himself. But he's also making content. He's being creative.
Yes.
Going out in public and being like, hey, shut up, bitch. And then it's like, what'd you say to me? Nah, I'm just playing. Yeah, we recording you. It's 50,000 people watching you right now, watching me disrespect you, but it's a prank. It's like, how's this a prank? I just don't understand. It was crazy to me. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because it was so wild to me that, like, this is where we are. This is where we're headed. And it's concerning to me about, like, public safety for them and for people. Like, you can't just go around saying crazy shit to people and then putting people in a situation where, what if that girl's dad was, like, on the other side of an aisle?
Yeah.
Now, if he knocks you out, or also these people so famous, he goes to knock you out. You got a security guard. His job is to protect you because you're worth whatever you're worth. And on these streamers got mad money.
Yeah.
And the security guard lays her dad down in the middle of that target. He's dead for protecting his daughter. So what happens then?
Yeah.
It's like, well, he tried to hit me. Well, you just went up to his daughter and said the craziest shit in the world. You putting people in situations where they got to do something. Oh my God. Real quick.
What's up?
Real quick. To anybody who joined the Patreon, I want to give a major shout out.
Shout-outs?
Yeah, big shout outs. Like I said, we're going to make more of a fanfare of it in the future, but I just wanted to stick
music?
I don't have any music, but I'm just telling you, we're going to do more of a fanfare in the future. No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. No. See, Fran did that. We're not doing it now. No,
we want music.
We're gonna do it. I don't have any music. We're gonna give a big shout out to Jamie P. Jamie P. Shout out to you, Jamie P. for holding it down. P.O.P. hold it down. I'm legally blind. We're gonna give a big shout out to Kim H. Shout out to Kim H. We appreciate you. Thanks for sticking with the new content. Hope you're enjoying that. We want to give a shout out to Jacques JAQ. Shout out to Jacques. We're going to give a big shout out to Amy H. Much love and appreciation.
Can we get some enthusiasm?
Diane T. Listen, I'm trying to be quiet. I have a baby sleeping in the house. Shout out to Diane T, man.
Last time we did that, he didn't even exist.
Right? That's what's crazy.
Man,
How times change. They come at you so quick. I want to give a major shout out to Diane T. We appreciate you. Shout out to you. AP, shout out to you. On the wrist, blinging AP. Shout out to you. Last week, we shout out to Faye For Real. Shout out to Faye For Real.
Okay.
If you would like a shout out, feel free to join the Patreon. We, like I said, it will be more of a fanfare and ceremonious actions taking place in the future. I got a baby in here. I'm trying to compose myself, but I appreciate you guys. We both appreciate you guys. More Patreon content coming year 2025. We're super excited for what we're doing, what we got coming. As you guys know, live shows. You go to MadisonMcGee.com to see the full fleet of them. I'm sure we got some ads playing on here giving you the full details. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. All right. And we are back. Fran, this week I wanted to take a dive into somewhat of a Black history kind of story. It's Black History Month, but it's kind of more so like a pop culture moment in history that we were on this planet for, but kind of too young. So any reference I have to it is only from movies, TV shows and stuff that I've seen it referenced to. So I wanted to kind of dive into it and get more detail. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Rodney King mixed with some LA in the 80s, a small dive into that just to kind of set the scene for how you maybe get a Rodney King situation. Yeah. Right. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is, like you said, like this happened when we were, young. So it's like reading about some of this now, getting full details, because a lot of stuff I didn't know. You just know what you hear on TV or in the movies. Yeah. That's being referenced from this is like, okay, Black guy was beat by cops. That's like the main thing but I don't know all the intricate shit and context that went into, why this happening, how, the result of this, him getting beat up and stuff like that, and what happened, the trickle effect of like what else happened after this happened. Yeah. So the main part of it now is like, okay, well, I knew about the crack epidemic. I mean, a lot of that stuff plays a huge part in this. Yeah. In LA and in the 80s. I think that it's amazing. Now that you think about it, and when you kind of start diving into some of these stories, it's like
it all goes back to crack.
It's insane. It's crazy, man. I just oh man, thinking about it, it's kind of heartbreaking because that ruined the Black community for
for generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's crazy, man.
Yeah. It is one of the most devastating things that's happened to this country. And I know a lot of people kind of like to frame the opioid epidemic as learning from that. But I still believe that if the opioid epidemic was affecting Black people today, they'd be getting the same treatment that they got during the crack epidemic. So I don't think the compassion is the byproduct of learning from the past sins and
meaning they comparing it to it's the same.
Well, no, it's visibly different. The way the people kind of the compassion towards this, these people are sick and all these things.
It's not even close.
Yeah, no. As far as just say no, all of that kind of stuff. What I will say is, as the country kind of leans into conservatism on a mainstream type of platform, yeah. I am starting to see the level of callousness around, well, hey man, if you don't have a 6-figure job and just aren't stable in life, that's your fault. We're kind of going back to that as a country. That's kind of really the default to me. I'm seeing a lot less compassion. It's more, it kind of feels like the country's leaning towards if you don't have your shit together, that's your problem. I don't care. So, and not that I want it to be that way, but it does seem like we're headed in a very callous direction.
When it was never, I don't remember it not ever being that way.
Well, I think a lot of people would argue that the opioid epidemic first of all, it's called an epidemic. As far as it's something that's happening to people, and it was never, the crack epidemic was never looked at it that way. It was like these people were villains, they're criminals, crackheads,
Gotcha.
and even the treatments for it, as far as like, just give them more time. Like if you get caught with crack, you get 10 times the sentence than you would if it was just regular cocaine.
Right.
But there's a lot of thoughts around that. So let's just kind of set the scene. LA, 1980s, crack explodes. There was already a kind of a proliferation of gangs in LA, kind of gang culture, as we're seeing, like, rappers. And today, like, LA's still gang culture, politicking and stuff. It's still a very major part of LA culture, but it really took off in the late 70s and into the 80s. And the explosion of crack cocaine created a market for people to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then gangs kind of became enforcement for drug dealing activity.
Yeah.
Whereas they, I hate to use the word allegedly, but because it's plain to see what gangs have become, it is important to note that, like, initially they would say these were created to protect neighborhoods, and there was a good intention in gangs initially. But I think that the proliferation of crack erased any idea of that. Once it became about, well, we live on this street and we want to own this territory to sell drugs, and so we're going to use the power of our gang to back them as the muscle to back us selling drugs here. And through this epidemic, there was an explosion of not only gang violence but police response.
Yeah.
And these were a lot of this action. A lot of times people like to look at, like, white politicians from these times and say, you voted on this. But there were a lot of black coalitions who had to answer to their constituency in the violence in the neighborhoods. So it wasn't just like black people were like, hey, man, don't send people to jail. There were a lot of black people who were like, we got to do something, man. These people are criminals. They're shooting people. Like, it wasn't just like evil white people that put laws in place to lock black people up. I'm not saying that the laws weren't wrong, but it wasn't just like Joe Biden signed something and then he just did it for no reason. Like, he felt pressure. He was getting phone calls from people that live in these neighborhoods that are like, somebody kicked in my door and you guys got to do something. Now, the solution in hindsight was clearly ineffective, because the disproportionate arrests were insane. Yeah. Between 1985 and 2000, drug offenses became 2/3 of the increase in federal inmates and half of the increase in state and prison populations. So there was this explosion of prison populations, and 2/3 of the reasoning was for drug offenses.
Yeah. So they were mandatory minimum.
Yes.
As far as,
they were just
with drugs. And
they were locking people up. And if you would get a month, maybe a slap on the wrist in prison for having a dime bag of cocaine, if it was crack cocaine, you might get 8 years. Like, it was like, we are getting crack off the streets, but they weren't really getting crack off the streets. They were just punishing people for being addicted to crack.
But it wasn't just people. It wasn't people, though. It was black people.
Overwhelmingly. I think it was like 100 to 1.
Yeah. It was
yes.
Black people.
Yeah. It was overwhelmingly. And that's because cocaine was expensive. Crack was not. So while cocaine was seen as this luxurious, wealthy drug, you could buy some
type drug.
Exactly. You could. So, and also the crimes around it weren't as violent on the TV screen.
Yeah.
So, like, people were killing people over cocaine, but it was like Scarface.
Yeah.
Bricks of cocaine and this cartel killed this cartel. That's not as local.
But it was always portrayed as like a party. Like, you had the club, you had girls, and coke.
It's about
it. Like,
cocaine. Cocaine had
crack
a great
was like and a fucking grimy, and you in a empty bando, and it's like sweaty, and
cocaine had a great marketing team.
Yeah.
Like, regular cocaine had a great marketing team. They made it look fun and sexy. Yeah. And crack was like, I don't know. A dirty grocery store that has one commercial and it's like a bag. The guy's like, come to my grocery store. We have meats and snacks, and all the meats are like out of the packaging.
Crack didn't have they just have the budget.
Yeah, no, they didn't have the budget at all. But also like focusing in a highly addictive drug on a low income neighborhood is going to, so when you make people addicted to a drug and then they don't have money to get the drug, you create a vacuum of crime.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what happened was the way, like we talk about the marketing, the news, things like this, it started to frame basically black people are acting like this because this is how black people act, as opposed to these are people that are suffering from addictions and their addictions are causing them to act outside of their character. There was no compassion for the conversation. It just was like, oh my God, like they're breaking into people's houses. They're stealing from their own mothers. And this became the reality, especially when you watch movies like New Jack City and, you know, Pookie smoking crack and went off the deep end, all these kind of things, like the way that it was portrayed. While on the other end, Studio 54, cocaine is glamorous. Oh, we're having threesomes. It's fun. Oh my God. Like, so, but the reality is crack was devastating. It wasn't like this is just a bad marketing team. I don't want to chalk it up to like it just was the way it was portrayed. Crack decimated inner city black neighborhoods from LA to New York, you know, these major coastal cities that were heavily Detroit. I mean, like anywhere where crack touched, it decimated the population, you know, and it made you talk about haves and have nots. It turned people, your everyday neighbor, into a full on drug pusher, selling drugs to their cousins, their friends, whatever. And then your friends becoming zombies. But yeah, so through all this explosion of gang violence and drug violence and everything like that in LA specifically, they made these things called crash units, or they were also, but crash stood for community resources against street hoodlums, which a hoodlum is just another word for the N word. If you were calling somebody a hoodlum in the 80s, I know what you wanted to say.
Yeah.
So these crash units were anti-gang units. So they would go in and bust heads. If they saw you having certain colors on, certain flags, gang tattoos, they would give gang enhancements, and their job was to go in and just bust gangs up, put them in prison, and put them in prison for a long time. If they could prove that you were in a gang, you would get more time so like if they caught you doing a robbery, but then you did a robbery and you wrapped a red flag around the gun, you might double your sentence.
Damn.
And their job was just to go into inner city neighborhoods and bust heads. They were not coming in nicely. They were coming in violence first.
Yeah.
Right. So you got the reason I'm saying this is to set the scene for there's three black men when we get to it, three black men riding around in a car in 1990 and XYZ happens, which we'll get to, and why this mentality being circled and cycling through the police precincts of the LAPD, when you see three black dudes in the middle of the night in a car, such happen, why you might meet them with straight up violence, because you already have a preconceived notion of like, this is probably a gang and this is what we do to gangs.
Yeah.
So all of this matters in the sense of like, when we talk about not to over exaggerate situations that we've been in, but we've been pulled over by the police before for just being like four black dudes in a car. And there's a whole series of events that lead to that has nothing to do with us. When we get pulled over, why we got pulled over has nothing to do with you, me, our friends. It was, well, you're in this neighborhood and this neighborhood's a high drug neighborhood. So the police are going through all of these different things when they decide to pull us over. So and then how they treat us is based nothing on us, what we have on, whatever. It's only just the color of our skin and the neighborhood that we're in.
Yeah. So
all of these things matter when we get to the story here. So let's go ahead and get some history on Rodney King. So Rodney Glenn King was born on April 2nd, 1965, to his father, Ronald, and his mom, Odessa. Rodney and his four siblings grew up in Altadena, California, which unfortunately is decimated by the wildfires.
Oh, shit.
Altadena is one of the like middle class black neighborhoods in California, one of the most like historic ones.
Really?
And they had to put some temporary laws in place after these fires because there were these financial groups that were going up there and trying to buy up the land once it was burned down. So it's like, we'll give you 50 grand right now to just give us your lot. They had to put laws in place so predatory people wouldn't come and just basically gentrify and take the land out from under these people in their worst possible times. It's like, well, the insurance companies aren't going to pay you out. We'll give you 60 grand right now. So, but that's where Rodney King's from. He's from Altadena. He attended John Muir High School, and often he talked about how inspired he was by his social science teacher. All this inspiration led him to commit a robbery of a store in 1989, in November of 1989, in Monterey Park in California. He threatened a Korean store owner with an iron bar, and he hit the store owner with a pole before fleeing the scene with $200. He was convicted and sentenced to 2 years in prison. He was released on December 27th, 1990, 2 days after Christmas, after serving a year in prison. So a light sentence, but transformative, I'm sure. 1964 at this point. So Rodney King is like in his mid 20s, probably 26, 27 years old. So he's not a kid, but I was going to try to shoot him some bail. This is an adult. He's not even 20. He's like 27 years old. So
it's an adult. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rodney King at this point kind of seems like he's on a bad path, maybe like a career criminal type of situation. But he's now out of prison after a short stint for a robbery of a store. On Sunday, March 3rd, 1991, Rodney King, along with his friends Brian Allen and Freddie Helms, were driving a 1987 Hyundai Excel. They were headed west on the Foothill Freeway in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, California. And the men had spent the night watching basketball, having some drinks, kicked up at a friend's house, having a little kickback. And then once they got done there, they hit the streets, and around 12:30 a.m., there was two officers named Tim and Melanie Singer. They were husband and wife police officers, highway patrol people.
Partners?
They were partners on the same beat. So who knows that?
Who they know?
Right? I don't know how you pull that off.
How you pull that shit off?
That's got to be a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they were highway patrol that night, and they noticed that King's car had sped down the freeway.
A Hyundai XL?
A Hyundai XL. So sped is subjective. But anyway, he sped.
Anyway, he was speeding that little ass thing.
But again, I lay the foundation for what I'm saying. Maybe he was speeding, but also I have to say it's also possible that a car with three black dudes at 12:30 in the morning rolled past this highway patrol people at a time where they saw three black dudes ride past them in a car at 12:30 in the morning, and they thought, let's light them up. Let's just pull them over and see. That's also possible. But anyway,
first thing is, I never seen one of these cars before. That's the crazy part.
What is it? Crazy looking?
No, I just never seen it. I just never seen one of these.
A Hyundai XL. Let me also just say that was speculation. I have no reason to just assume that they weren't speeding and got pulled over. But I got to speak from personal experience and say, three black dudes in a car at 12:30 in the morning. Those are the kind of cars that get pulled over randomly. It's like, oh man, y'all got anything in the car? So it's possible that they lit them up just to do one of those. Let's just check and see.
Yeah.
But it's also possible they blew past them in a Hyundai XL, driving crazy.
It's possible
while they were drunk.
Yeah,
joyriding, if you will.
What was it, 27?
27.
I mean,
it's a little old. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what
I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that. Having fun, having a ball with your boys, a little speed.
This is true. But either way, no matter what happened, they pursued them with their lights and sirens. And once they did that, it became a high-speed chase. So even if he wasn't speeding, whether he was or wasn't, once they got lit up, they didn't pull over.
Okay.
So yeah.
They probably could have been speeding.
They probably could have been speeding. And it's like, oh shit, no, man, I don't want to get in trouble. So they thought the high-speed chase reached up to 117 miles per hour because Rodney King didn't want to get pulled over because he was on parole. He had just gotten out a few months prior. So, he was drunk and speeding, and who knows what else. Sometimes it's like everything goes back to the crack epidemic, crash units, police tightening down. He might have been in a situation where it's like you can't be around felons, or you can't be around somebody that's in a gang. I don't know his friends, but I'm just saying, like, these are the kind of things like we're not supposed to be hanging together. all these kind of things come into play. But he was speeding and drunk, so that's bad enough. So we didn't necessarily need to add things to it, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you are already doing something wrong and then police come after you, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I mean, what else? What other choices he had though?
Let me try to beat him out. His idea was, I'm gonna try to beat him.
I'm gonna try to beat him because he was already in trouble. He was already about to get in trouble. Yeah, I mean, like, when those situations I'm in, I get stuck to like agreeing to disagree because I go like, all right, if you do something you weren't supposed to be doing, and you go, all right, well, I'm already gonna get
in trouble. Yeah,
I'm gonna get in trouble. So why not try to
get in no trouble?
Try my luck.
Just roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Maybe I won't get caught at all.
You putting people's lives in danger. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, pull me over.
But
yeah, I'm Trey. I'm Trey in Boys in the Hood in every scene. Pull the car over, man.
Pull the car over.
Pull the car over. He's like,
now if I'm Mr. King here.
Yeah, nah,
fuck
hitting
that.
corners and shit.
Yeah. You don't want to get y'all can jump out
but the car's not stopping.
The car's not
stopping. You can get out, but the car's not stopping. So
I'll slow down around this bend and give you.
Yeah, give you time to hop out, tuck and roll.
Patch of grass you can jump on, but other than that, I'm not hitting the brakes at all.
So Rodney King did admit that he fled the police hoping to avoid a DUI charge and a parole violation that was likely to follow once he was pulled over.
So he admitted to that.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, like you said, it's like, I'm getting in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. Like, you can say whatever you want, but this idea that, you know, people are supposed to be righteous and be like, well, hey man, the cops got you. You just pull over, and it's up to, you know, you to have self-control, and the police are just doing their jobs. And it's like, hey man, listen, anybody who makes the police's job easy, they should thank them, because that's a rarity.
Yeah.
For a person to be like, you got me. Let me just turn myself over and call it a day. Like, no, of course. Yeah, of course.
Also, it's never that simple. Especially now, it's like, now I think times have changed where it's like, I'm not on parole or anything like that. I'm running because I'm scared.
That too.
I don't know what this person's, I don't know what this cop is up to. That
too. That's something to take into consideration as well.
Now, the judge not going to buy that, but.
No, you ran because you're a criminal. So King actually left the freeway near Hanson Dam Recreation area, and the pursuit continued through residential streets at speeds ranging from 55 to 80 miles an hour. This is now they're just on streets.
Yeah.
Surface streets, neighborhoods, all that type of stuff.
What year was the OJ chase?
94, 95, something like that. 95, I think.
94.
94, yeah.
When was this?
1990. This was 1990.
Okay.
So this was
what if it happened at the same time? They was on the opposite side of the highway.
They had gnawed each other.
Yeah,
but no, the Rodney King,
like a white Bronco, you see a white
Honda XL.
Man, what a video to ate that up. My goodness,
they're going. The blacks have lost their minds. But yeah, no, the Rodney King situation set the precedence for some of O.J. Simpson's defense, as far as like not pulling over and all these, So everything is crazy how much stuff is connected.
Yeah.
So they're still in the midst of this high speed chase. Several police cars and a police helicopter joined the chase at by this time. Now they're on the surface. So now you're not getting away. Once the helicopter gets involved, it's only a matter of time before you get caught. So like I said, yeah, several police cars joined the chase, and helicopters are involved in all this stuff. After approximately 8 miles, officers cornered King's car. Stacy Kuhn, Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wind, Theodore Brazino, and Rolando Solano were the first 5 Los Angeles Police Department officers to arrive at the scene. Officer Tim Singer ordered King and his passengers out of the car to lay face down on the ground, with the helicopter swirling above the scene and everything, with the spotlight on them. And Brian Allen claims that he was manhandled, kicked, stomped, taunted, and threatened. Freddie Helms was hit on the head while lying on the ground. He was treated for a laceration on the top of his head. And it's just crazy to me, like, in today's age, even with everything, George Floyd and all these things, there's all these kind of unwritten rules that people just kind of know and expect. And I think police officers get away with the jokes and stuff like that. Like, if you make me run, when I catch you, just know I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah,
these are all kind of like
a parent or something.
Yeah, these are all kind of implied things. Like, yeah, well, you made me run. You made it hard for me. So when I catch you, I'll get you on the ground. I'm not trying to hear nothing about I can't breathe. I'm not trying to hear nothing about the handcuffs are too tight. You got my arm behind my back. I might elbow you in the back of your head. I might stomp on you while you're down. Like, it's just like, if you make my job harder, I'm gonna take it out on you by beating the shit out of you. And that's just kind of like implied. You know, so that's crazy to me. So all of these things are believable to me. They've been chasing them for 8 miles and making them do all this type of shit. So of course, when we get you, we're not just gonna be like, all right, Sklicky, handcuffed you, picked you up, you know, nice try, we caught you, and have a nice day. Of course, they're all gonna take a turn getting their licks. You know, you're embarrassing us, got us chasing you all around, driving in circles, y'all back into an alley, then pull out, spin back. Fuck all that. When we catch you, it's up.
Yeah.
So I believe all of this. Stomped on their head, kicked them. I believe all of this. Freddie Helms, his bloody baseball cap was actually later turned over to the police as evidence. When Rodney King finally got out of the car, it is reported that he giggled, patted the ground, and then waved up to the police helicopter. So, you know, I guess, you know, you got your friends around, they got us, might as well have a little fun, got a little liquor in your system. So it's possible he might have did a little bit of, you know, being a little extra.
Yeah. It's a little taunting.
Yeah, a little taunting. Y'all got me, but whatever. Yeah, whatever. Because again, I don't think that it was, in his mind, he just did a little run from the cops. You know, like they really, because when you think about it, it's crazy. But again, like, there was no initial crime committed other than running. The only crime was the running from the police. So now it's like, oh, y'all got me, or whatever, middle finger, whatever the thing is. I'm not saying it's whatever's fine, but I'm just saying it's not like they were coming from robbing a bank or something like that. Like, the crime was the running from the police. So it's like, oh, y'all got me, we tried to run, y'all got us, whatever. And it's like,
but you still got to think about, like, all the risks involved in that, though.
Yeah.
Somebody could have got killed. It could have been a horrible accident. Like,
right.
A lot of shit that could have happened where it's like,
it's not funny to the people that were chasing you.
Right.
Because they could have gotten an accident. A lot of bad stuff could have happened. So they're not laughing at your jokes. But anyway, Rodney King grabbed his butt, allegedly, which Officer Melanie Singer, the wife of the husband, that kind of were the initiators of the chase.
I don't like that. I just don't like that combination.
The husband-wife combination?
Yeah, because it's so easy for the guy to snap. Like, because it's not just his partner. That's his wife. That's his spouse.
The thing about us being couch detectives and being alumni of Hardley University, we get to have a fun time. Not a fun time, but we get to speculate. And when I speculate, I don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt. So it's perfectly possible the dynamic of a husband and wife situation, they could have been in their car like, oh, it's getting kind of boring. You want to have some fun? You want next car comes by and is doing this much, whatever. But let's just pull them over. It's getting boring out here. When you know what I'm saying? Like, when you familiar with the people that you're working with, sometimes you just, hey man, fuck it. Let's just pull somebody over. It's boring. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't like that dynamic either. I'm not trying to, if I'm getting pulled over by a husband and wife, I'm already like, I want badges and I want numbers. This is crazy.
Yeah. Because now shit can happen where they can keep between them two. Like, it get a little, I don't know.
It's even further than the thin blue line.
Yeah.
The thin blue line, you got the thin gold ring. Y'all got all kind of interwoven. Yeah. The bond is too deep.
We take this past the grave.
We take this to our graves. Yeah. I don't fuck with that. But yeah, so Rodney King went to go grab his butt. Melanie Singer saw it and she thought he was reaching for a weapon. But it was later determined that he was unarmed. So she drew her pistol, pointed the gun at King, and ordered him down to the ground. So all the joking is over. Now he's like, what? You know?
Yeah.
And again, now, and this is what I don't like about these situations, because we've seen it so many times. Now in that situation, it's later found out that he's unarmed, but he knows he's unarmed at the time. Now he has a gun drawn on him, and it's his responsibility to make the perfect next move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my safety. I understand he just went on a crazy high-speed chase. But now there's a gun pointed at me. And now I got to make sure I was scratching my ass or pulling my pants up or whatever. Make sure I pull my hand slowly away so they can see both my hands. Make sure I don't fall weirdly or get down on the ground with my hands. It's just so much pressure, to be the person with a gun pointed at you, and your life is kind of expected to be in your own hands. Yeah. But anyway, since we know how the story ends for the most part, that he doesn't get killed in the situation, but it gets bad. So he's ordered down to the ground. They're preparing to arrest him. And Stacy Coon, who was the ranking officer at the scene. Oh yeah. They told Melanie that the LAPD was taking command and ordered all officers to holster their weapons. So Melanie and her husband were highway patrol. So they're still in the mix. Now they got the guns out, get on the ground, whatever. And Stacy Coon was like, hey, we got this. This is no longer a traffic stop. Yeah. This is deep. So we're going to.
What is a ranking officer? Does that mean like the top?
At the scene, what I say goes at the scene.
Gotcha.
So Stacy Coon was like, put your gun away. You're a highway patrol cop. We got this. And then Sergeant Coon ordered the other 4 LAPD officers at the scene to subdue and handcuff Rodney King using a technique called a swarm. This is where multiple officers grab a suspect to overcome potential resistance quickly. So they, jump on his arms, jump on his legs, all of that type of stuff. The four officers claim that King resisted the attempts to restrain him, even though it's 4 people. 4 people jumped on him, which I'm not saying he couldn't have been like, man, why y'all? That's what I mean about your reaction to the force of like, all right, y'all don't gotta all be on me like this, and now you're resisting
pain and shit like that. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Rodney King and witnesses at the scene dispute this claim. The officers later testified that they believed that King was high on PCP. Again, it all goes back to crack because there's a precedent set of like, oh, black people are in this state of perpetual mania. They're doing drugs. Like, you know what it is. It's 12:30 in the morning. We thought he was a tweaker. His toxicology came back and it tested negative for this drug. But it's easy for them to go, oh, he was so strong and erratic that we thought he was high on drugs. Yeah. And it's like, no, I was not high on drugs. You guys were just beating the shit out of me. And I didn't like that. But, you can tell that the defenses start getting laid early. Yeah, I think he's high on drugs. He's definitely cranked up. And so anyway, while laying on the ground, Rodney King is tasered by Coon, the ranking officer at the scene. Yeah. And then King rises up after being tased, and rushes towards Powell, and the two end up colliding. Powell was another officer at the scene. All of this could be interpreted as him trying to get away from a mobbish attack.
I'm shocked that he hasn't been shot. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. So he collides with another officer. Powell then strikes King with his baton, and King is knocked to the ground. He then strikes King several more times with his baton. Brazzino then moves in, attempting to stop Powell from striking again, and then Powell stands back. Coon reportedly said, stop, that's enough. King managed to get up to his knees, and Powell and Wynn began beating him again with their batons. King claimed that the police shouted, "We're going to kill you, nigger. Run." Coon acknowledged ordering the continued use of batons, directing Powell and Wynn to strike King using power strokes, they called them. So Coon is acknowledging that I did tell him to go back in for some more. Yeah. Even though I said stop a second ago, once he stood back up, we got back to business. So Powell and Wynn used bursts of power strokes and then backed off. Pause. King continued to try and get up. So this was his big. This was the issues that, like, I guess they want you to just lie down and comply, but he's getting the shit beat out of him. Yeah. So he keeps getting up to try to. I don't know. You can't just lie down and just get beat. So Coon then orders the officers to hit his joints. Ooh. Hit his wrists. Yeah, hit his wrists, hit his elbows, hit his knees, hit his ankles. And I don't know if you ever hit your ankle on the side of a bed or
the little ball.
Oh. Yeah. it's a different kind of pain. So I couldn't imagine somebody slamming a baton down on your ankle ball.
Yeah.
That shit, man. That shit probably hurts.
Yeah.
So officers Wynn, Brazino, and Powell attempted numerous baton strikes on King, resulting in something like 33 blows, 7 kicks, and then the officers then again swarmed King, but this time a total of 8 officers were involved. They placed King in handcuffs and cord cuffs, restraining his arms and his legs. He was dragged on his stomach to the side of the road to await the arrival of emergency medical rescue. King was then taken to Pacifica Hospital after his arrest, where he was found to have suffered a fractured facial bone, a broken right ankle, and multiple bruises and lacerations. In a negligence claim he filed against the city, King alleged that he suffered 11 skull fractures, permanent brain damage, broken bones and teeth, kidney failure, and emotional and physical trauma.
Man, beat the hell out of him.
Beat the hell out of him. Blood and urine samples taken 5 hours after his arrest showed that his blood alcohol content was 0.075, which indicated that he was intoxicated during the initial arrest as defined by California law. So he was driving drunk.
Technically, he was.
This was a DUI.
But it wasn't high enough to be like,
yeah, he was technically drunk.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was
not aware of his,
Yeah. I mean, we can't be for sure, but like if he would have blown, it wouldn't have been like he wrapped his car around a telephone pole. He had a buzz going.
Right. He had a buzz going. Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't like 5 times over the legal limit.
Yes, exactly. The test also showed traces of marijuana, which is California. Okay. Like, so what? He's a night out with some friends. Pacifica Hospital nurses reported that the officers who accompanied King openly joked and bragged about the number of times they had hit him. And this is the mentality of that, honestly, the gang of police in some cities where it's like, we got our licks in. It just is like, it's inappropriate. Like there's supposed to be a level of professionalism, but everybody's human, right? Like it just comes with the territory. You get a bunch of people together, you form a bond, camaraderie and everything. Then it's like, we went against the enemy and the enemy lost today. We got them. Yeah. But maybe not bragging about, remember I elbowed him? That shit was crazy, right? I did a diving elbow onto his shin bone.
This wasn't a gang fight though. This was like police.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be doing their job, but then like after you like bragging about
at the hospital
how you supposed to do your job, how you did it wrong. Okay. All right.
So they openly, allegedly, based on some testimony from like nurses at the hospital, said that they were openly bragging about the number of times that they hit him. The city, this is crazy. All of this shit happens, right? The city did not pursue charges against King for driving while intoxicated and evading arrest. So it wasn't even that serious.
Wow.
District Attorney Ira Rayner believed there was insufficient evidence for prosecution. Especially because, like, one thing that we're not mentioning, because I guess it's obvious, is like the helicopter caught the whole thing on tape.
Yeah.
So that tape was taking precedence over, like, he was driving illegally or he was drunk driving, right? It's like, what the fuck are you? So what? We just watched them beat the shit out of this man. Talking about charging him with something. So they were like, it just doesn't even look good for us to try to pursue charges on this. Let's just move on, I think was their mentality. But let's just move past it. Don't pursue prosecution. Like, let's just try to, why take this to court?
Yeah.
But his successor to district attorney, his name was Gil Garcetti. He thought that by December 1992, too much time had passed to charge King with evading arrest, and noted that the statute of limitations on the drunk driving had passed. So even after there was a new district attorney, the new district attorney was on the same page of like, this just isn't even worth pursuing.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to all parties involved, most of the beating had been captured on video by a man on his balcony, which is new information to me as I'm reading this right now. I thought it was caught from the helicopter cameras. there was a man in an apartment building or something like right there, and he filmed it from his balcony.
I thought there was a view that was like lower than like ground level type or something like that.
It's possible that there was a helicopter footage, but I'm guessing that means that wasn't the footage that the public saw initially.
Gotcha.
Initially, this was like a guy. This is before TMZ, but like basically like a guy filmed his own footage and sold it to the news or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the initial footage. And then my guess is, like in today's time, you see, we're going to be transparent and release the helicopter footage, because I just feel like I've seen helicopter footage, but I could be wrong. But I think maybe once the story started to catch a lot of attention, they were like, well, let's release our version of what we have to the public. So the guy was actually a plumbing salesman and an amateur videographer named George Holliday. He videotaped the interaction on his camcorder, which, you know, fucking, you got it on your shoulder. You got a whole, got that little sleeve for your hand. He videotaped the interaction with his camcorder from his apartment near the intersection of Foothill Boulevard and Osborne Street. Due to his camera being in another part of his apartment, he couldn't begin recording until after the officers were already beating King. So again, this is why I feel like there's the helicopter footage. We see the unedited or like the full complete situation, but his footage was just when they were already beating him, which looks extra bad because you don't know how he got here. On March 5th, 1991, Mr. Holliday called the LAPD headquarters to tell them that he had videotaped the incident and nobody was interested in seeing the video.
Wow.
So he gave him an opportunity.
They almost, yeah.
So yeah, we do it all the time. You seen one, you seen them. I got 1,000 of those videos at home. He went to the local news station. See, look, this is, again, and I'm not trying to condone it, but this is the same situation that got Diddy in the predicament that he's in, which he deserves. But like, this guy came to the police and was like, y'all want to see this? They were like, get out of here. Get off our phone. He was like, okay. Just took the tape, went to a news station.
Yeah.
News station saw it and was like, yeah, we'll take this. Warren Wilson was the first reporter to take on the story and interviewed King in his jail ward. So I guess King was in jail for something unrelated, I would imagine. The footage became an instant media sensation, with portions airing numerous times. It turned into one of the most widely watched and discussed incidents of its kind. Several groups were started throughout the country to safeguard against police abuse, including an umbrella group. And on October 22nd, a coalition to stop police brutality was another group that was put together to kind of put an end to police violence.
Okay.
In 1992, clips from the beating were added to the opening credits of the movie Malcolm X, starring Denzel Washington. On March 15th, 1991, LAPD Sergeant Stacy Coon and officers Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wind, and Theodore Brazino were indicted for the assault on King. Coon and Powell were also charged with filing false police reports. On March 16th, 1991, 15-year-old African-American young lady, Latasha Harlins, was shot in the back of the head by a Korean shop owner. She had placed a bottle of orange juice in her backpack inside the store and approached the counter with cash. The owner, Soon Jadu, accused her of trying to steal the juice before a scuffle broke out between the two.
Yeah.
As Harlins walked away, Du opened fire in a killing caught on the store's security camera. So this is back-to-back. Rodney King in 1990. This takes place the following year in 1991, but also the trial is, there's still all this talk around the trial and convictions and everything, and the camera footage is coming out. So it all coincides with each other. There was really no breathing room. It's like the Rodney King video was still on the tip of everybody's mind.
Yeah.
And then a young 15-year-old black girl gets murdered in a Korean convenience store in her neighborhood. So on March 21st, 1991, LAPD Sergeant Stacy Coon and officers Theodore Brazino Timothy Powell, or Lawrence Powell and Timothy Wynn pleaded not guilty to the assault on King. In April 1991, Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley formed the Independent Commission on the Los Angeles Police Department, informally known as the Christopher Commission. It was chaired by attorney Warren Christopher. The commission was created to conduct a full and fair examination of the structure and the operation of the LAPD, which we talked about, like these crash units and everything. Like they were really out in the streets getting busy. Like it really was. But they were, in their mind, they're like, we're cracking down on the violence epidemic and the drug epidemic. It was a war on drugs.
Your boy Reagan.
Reaganomics. Yeah. Ronald Reagan, the war on drugs, man. This included its recruitment and training practices, internal disciplinary systems, and a citizen complaint system. On November 15th, 1991, Soon Jadu was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for the killing of Latasha Harlins.
Wow.
Voluntary manslaughter, shot in the back of the head.
Wow.
Shot in the back of the head. There was a scuffle, but then she was shot in the back of the head. So that's
talking about a slap
you're
on
fleeing.
the wrist. Wow. That's like a little pluck.
Yeah. She could have been sentenced to 16 years in prison, but the judge placed her on probation. The light
House arrest?
Probation.
Is that the same thing?
No, not necessarily.
No.
Probation could just be you can't leave the state.
That's a
some
joke.
parameters around it and stuff
Probation
like
is a joke.
that. When 16 years is on the table, somebody's dead. Somebody's not alive anymore.
Yeah.
The light sentence for the killing of an African-American teen came a week before Los Angeles County Court case involving cruelty to a dog ended with a tougher 30-day sentence in jail. So somebody killed a dog and got more time than somebody who killed a girl, a 15-year-old girl. That stings. And you got to keep in mind, the Rodney King video is floating around everybody's head. This girl gets killed. Then it's like, yeah, you know, a dog got killed. They threw the man in jail for 30 days. And this lady killed a little black girl in her neighborhood and she got probation. So the tension is rising. The tension is rising. It's brewing. People are mad.
We that low?
Yeah.
Hey. We that low?
Hey. It's crazy. On November. Bro, Michael Vick could never live down what he did to them dogs. No. It's I'm not saying what and he didn't do it. He didn't drown the dogs or whatever. He was involved in it. He was the name on it. You know, white people love dogs. And I love dogs too. Yeah. But I don't love them more than people. 30 days in jail and somebody getting a slap on the wrist and probation for killing the little girl is crazy. And that the message that sends to black people is devastating.
You care about dogs more than you guys.
This been damn near 40 years this shit happened. And reading that just now took the air out of my lungs.
Yeah.
30 days in jail, and the lady killed a little girl, didn't get any jail time. So on November 26, 1991, the officer's trial was moved to Simi Valley, California, a predominantly white suburb of Los Angeles. You know, a jury of your peers. So that's concerning. That doesn't really seem, you know. But anyway, because the court determined that the case's publicity might not allow for a fair trial. This is similar to what happened in the OJ trial, but in reverse. Johnny Cochran was like, get as many black people on that jury stand as possible. And all of these things that we're talking about right now perfectly fed into what happened with the OJ trial, which we're not talking about today, but all of this anger that's palpitating in this story and all of this shit, boom, it fed right into the LA that was the scene for OJ Simpson's situation. So the Rodney King trial was moved to Simi Valley, predominantly white neighborhood, because they were afraid it wouldn't be a fair trial. On March 2nd, 1992, a jury of 10 white people with only one Hispanic and one Filipino American was selected. 6 males, 6 females. Many objected since there were no African American jurors. But oh well. At 3:15 p.m. on April 29th, 1992. So it was about a month that the trial took. And on And at around 3:15 on April 29th, 1992, the jury acquitted Kuhn, Wind, Brazino, and Powell of all charges.
Wow. Break stuff? Bug?
Yeah, it's a little fruit fly or something like that. So they were acquitted of all charges. There was one assault charge against Powell that ended in a hung jury. So nothing.
That's crazy, man.
The jurors who were interviewed placed the blame on King. They said, quote, time and time again, King controlled the action. He could have stopped the actions. He could have stopped. He refused to get out of the car. His two companions got out of the car and complied with all the orders. And they also got their heads busted open. But anyway.
They didn't get probation?
No, they were acquitted of all charges.
They couldn't even get probation?
No, they can't
give him nothing?
Nope. So basically they were saying his companions in the car, they complied with all the orders, and King, he didn't. He just continued to fight. So the police department had no alternative. He was obviously a dangerous person. Mr. King was controlling the whole show with his actions. This is what somebody from the jury said. So the temperatures.
So like this is all his fault.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He should have just stopped doing what he was doing. And it's not that I necessarily disagree. I just am like, I've never had the shit beat out of me by 8 cops. So I don't know if I can say, well, you should have just laid there and not this, and you shouldn't have moved. And
nah, man.
I don't know. I can't say.
Nah.
I can't say what I will, if I feel like my life is in danger. I don't have a right to defend my life.
Ass flipping. You telling me I provoked the whole thing?
They have no culpability. It's 8 of y'all. We couldn't go, well, y'all couldn't do it with 2 of y'all. There was just no, but that tells you the jury, even that being a statement from somebody in the jury is like, oh, then this was done before we even got started.
Yeah. What was the point of doing all that? What was this whole thing about it?
Well, we had to make sure that the public saw that we left it up to the people so that nobody riots.
Sure. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But that's that was the intention. Like, well, you saw that. Hey, man, we did the process. The due process was done, and they were found not guilty
with the video circulating.
With there
being video evidence out.
Yes, but they moved to Simi Valley as 10 white people, or I'm sorry, 8 white people, a Filipino man and a Hispanic man. So the white people in Simi Valley didn't see that.
Is that the prosecutor's idea? I mean, is that their strategy? Is that like
I think you get to eliminate. There's like a whole dance that happens between the prosecutor and the defense attorneys where you get to like remove somebody from the jury but they move.
But is that? I want to know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. So
I want to know if that's a standard practice or is that is like you got to be like elite to
have a trial moved,
have a trial, or have that, or pull that card out. To use that. I
think that you get to request a trial be moved one time.
Okay.
I believe that it's like
so
part of your
that's
rights.
not like a
no, I don't think it's like you got to do put up a special argument to make it happen. You just get to request the trial move, and I guess it's up to the judge. If they go, I would like to request the trial be moved because I think that where we're pulling a jury pool from, we won't get a fair trial. And if that's enough for a judge to go, I agree with that. You made a good point. Then you get one. I think you get to move it once.
It just sounds like one of elite lawyers.
Oh, no, it was
do something like this.
It was brilliant.
But like when somebody doesn't use that as a tool,
mm-hmm.
they go like, oh, he's a rookie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure. No, I think in this situation, it was absolutely a brilliant move. If you wouldn't have made the move, it would have been foolish to take this and move it to a predominantly white neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then where white people are, maybe they watch that video and they go, wait, so he was all the stuff that I understand logically, where it's no emotion. Like, you gotta keep in mind, we're 2 black men doing this true crime podcast. We see ourselves in these situations somewhat, you know. Obviously I've never robbed a store or whatever. I've never been on a high speed chase, but like, it's just, right on. But it's just, I don't know. It's like, it's hard for me to not see myself. Just like, you know, there was a judge. He saw his son when he saw Brock Turner.
Yeah.
A man that raped a girl behind a dumpster. He was like, you look like my nephew. So
insane.
I have a level of like, empathy when I hear about this, but a white person in 1992 might see that video and go, wait, so he was in a high-speed chase and then he wouldn't just lay down and get beat? Why he just kept getting up? He's a criminal. Clearly he's a bad
but
person.
to see a video like that and to point out
how it's that person's fault.
Yeah, point out like why not look at the whole thing and kind of break it down that way? But like the point out being like, what he did what? Well, he shouldn't have. And he did what? Oh, then well, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like all right. What about everything else? What about whatever the cops did? Why are you not looking at that?
Yeah, you see how they
and at that point you go like, oh, it doesn't even matter what somebody put in front of you. They can put it in the fucking poster and put it right in front of your face. You would look around that and go like, yeah, but this and this is like, okay, well, this is over before it started.
Yeah.
Like,
so how do you feel about dog piles? Do you think it was okay they dog piled him? Well, they got to do what they got to do. You know, he shouldn't have ran. It all goes back to that. So they found 10 people with that mentality, and that was a brilliant move. It was. It really was. Yeah. It was a brilliant move.
Get that right.
Because if it was 10 black people, they'd be like, "Oh hell no, man! They beat the shit out of this. They did that to my cousin. This happened. You know, I got a dickhead cop one time that did this, that, and the third to me. There was none of that." So Mayor Tom Bradley called the verdicts senseless. He stated that the jury's verdict will never blind the world to what they saw on that videotape. I believe Tom Bradley was a black mayor. I could be wrong, but I believe he was.
Wow.
At about 5 p.m. on April 29th, 1992, rioting began in Los Angeles.
The riots?
The riots.
The riots, huh?
And what we're actually going to do is we're going to stop there and we will dive into not only the LA riots, but another scandal in Los Angeles that had to do with a crash unit in part 2.